Welcome back, everyone, to Beyond the Balance with Jessica Perez. I am so excited to have Lisa Mont-Ros on today. She is my friend and an AI specialist, the go-to gal when it comes to anything talking about AI. She teaches on it. She's also the co-founder and COO of Strategy Ninjas, the company that has helped me launch my brand, my courses, websites, all of these different things that will impact what you're going to learn about. So let's welcome Lisa to the show. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi. Hi. I
So
feel like I don't
excited.
even have to say anything. You just said
I
it all and podcast is over. Here we
except
go.
for you have so much more to tell and talk about because you are a business builder, so a serial entrepreneur. You are a mom of five in a blended family. And so we're going to talk about that, how you migrated your family and everything else. Let's get started and tell people like who you are by day, what it is that you do right now, and then we'll dive into your origin story and more about how you got here.
Yeah, I spend most of my days interacting with a computer. I try to do as much human interaction as I can, but most of my time I feel like now is spent talking with AI, but I treat them like they're people because they kind of are. So we specialize in AI strategy, AI solutions, and it's bananas where this world is going. I spend half of my day being really excited about it and the other half wanting to like hide under a blanket because I'm like, oh man, I can see where this is headed and it's a little bit scary.
Is true. I think people are either truly embracing it and going all in, or they're really afraid and reluctant. And I do think that there's like a happy medium in there. You have to still have the human touch to what you're doing, but AI can help you so much. And so instead of people being afraid of it, I tell them all the time, just embrace it. It's here, it's coming, it's going to keep evolving. So the question really is like, how do you leverage it in your life today to make you better, more efficient, and give you time back? And I think that you guys have done this really well at Strategy Ninjas, so I'm really excited about that. Let's talk about, you before Strategy Ninjas, because this is not your first company that you built. You guys started out in a completely different space, very relevant to where you are today, but talk about that journey.
Well, it's kind of funny because actually our last company, our slogan that we came up with was giving you back time to focus on what matters most. And I'm like, literally, we're still doing the same thing. We're just like using a different medium in which to do it. But I think that my whole life is on that quest to like, how do you, and since we're beyond the balance, we'll talk about balance, but how do you find the balance in your life so that you can pursue what you want to pursue, fulfill yourself? If you have a job, I think everyone listening to this podcast is kind of balancing both of those things. And then also, how do you show up as the mom that you want to be and the friend that you want to be? And so it's, how do we find the time to do that? Because it's time and energy, right? Like, I don't necessarily even think it's time. It should be, our slogan should be giving you back energy to focus on what matters most. But that's a little too woo woo for me, and I'm not woo woo. So sticking with time. Sticking with something that's like very black and white. So our former business was a transaction coordination company we had up in the Pacific Northwest. And the funny thing about that is that like how it actually started was that I was a real estate agent. I don't do anything halfway. So I worked around the clock, and then Alex and I got married and we went from 3 kids, decided we wanted more because why not? At that point, like, you don't even notice when you throw more kids in the house. It's like, it's just more noise. So I stepped back from selling real estate to be a stay-at-home mom, and I made it 2 months. And I was like, I would rather poke my eye out than do this. So to any stay-at-home moms who might potentially be listening to this, like, I bow down to you like 100% because that is the hardest job in the world. So I made it 2 months, and then I went back to work, and I went back to do something I knew I could do while still being at home. That was my goal, which was transaction coordination work. And out of that, it just birthed us to, over a couple of years, a company of 30 employees and 7 figures. And I ended up still working 16 hours a day. So I was like, that did not work out in my favor. But so we did that, and we did it for 5 years, almost to the day before we were acquired,
Okay. And
which
you
was
were
sort of
giving
crazy.
other people back their time while occupying all of yours. And you and I have talked about this quite a bit, is how much you get into a business and a service business or a business that is built around saving other people time, and it ends up taking all of your time, right? Like, you go all in on this thing.
Yeah, and I think I've actually been analyzing this a lot over the past few months, and I think it's also why I have a hard time with it is that I'm a doer, but also I was raised in a time and by a family that believed that hard work. Like, that was like, if you work harder, you will be successful. And so I've always just worked hard, and I'm in this stage right now where we're implementing a lot more AI and working on getting more free time, and I'm having this whole like anxiety crisis over it because I'm programmed to work hard. And so not having to work as hard but still getting the results, my brain and my body does not know what to do with that right now. So it's an interesting space. It's been the last few months I've been analyzing this quite a bit.
And so, how has that translated into you maybe taking back more of your time now? Or are you not there yet?
No, I'm definitely there. One of the things I'm pretty committed to because I adore my little kids. I adore my big kids too. But what I realized with them is the time went by too fast. And so now that we have little ones, because we basically have like two families, we have our older kids are 24, 22, and 20, and our little ones are just about 12 and 10. And so we have two separate families. So one of the things I realized is that I lost a lot of time with the big kids in pursuit of having more time with them in the future. And so one of the things that I'm pretty committed to now is that like I'm really, really focusing on my little ones. They actually, one of them said to me the other day, they're like, you're basically a stay-at-home mom, right? And I was like, I'm not. They're like, but you're a work-at-home mom. So we have a new phrase called wham. That's like, it used to be Sam and now it's wham. But they're like, but you're home and I'm able to spend more time with them. And I know these years go by too fast.
Yeah, that is part of the reason that I knew I needed a change in my life was before I knew it, the kids were in school, and that was the moment I craved, right? When I was working so much and working so hard, I'm like, I just can't wait till they're in school full time. And then I was like, wow, it's here. And the moments go faster and faster and faster. And so I knew I wanted to make some changes in my life where I wasn't trading time just for money for the sake of it, doing it for someone else. And so you and Alex have done a great job of going all in on yourselves, building that business, and now, strategy ninjas. But there's definitely hard in between. You guys sold that business, relocated, right, with a blended family and had to make some hard decisions. Talk about that because I think that the transitions don't get enough time. We do them and they go fast and then you're like on to the next thing. But how did you guys make that decision? Why did you guys move to Arizona from the Pacific Northwest other than, I love Arizona. I'm from here, so I'm biased.
I equally do. What's interesting about transitions is that I feel like life is just a transition. And like once I've accepted that, I don't expect things to ever calm down and like everything's just a transition. But it all happened COVID hit. I hate that this is even a thing that we all talk about. We're like pre-COVID, during COVID, after COVID. Like it's literally a timestamp, right? But COVID hit up in the Pacific Northwest and we realized a number of things is that first of all, we were all together all the time. And when you're together all the time in a very gloomy climate, it does not lend itself very well to like joyous families. We actually did great during COVID, but we did realize that like we needed to be in a different geographic area. And it actually, I don't remember if I told you this story. I'm sure I have. It's my favorite story to tell, but we bought a Powerball ticket. So it's Saturday night because that's when they draw a Powerball. And this was like in May of 2020. So we like to play the game of what we would do if we won Powerball. Like our whole family plays it, right? It's like, what happens when you get $500 million? Like, what do you do? So we started looking at houses on Zillow because what else are you going to do is just start looking at dream houses. But then we're looking at houses and we first of all started looking in California and we're like, well, I don't want to go to California for a number of reasons. I'm like, that's not where I want to live. And so we looked in Arizona because we had two friends who lived here. That's it. Two friends. And so we started looking in Arizona and realized like the price difference at that time, we could sell our house in Washington and buy a better house, like newer and bigger in Arizona for cash. And I was like, why are we here? We don't even need to win Powerball. So this is a Saturday night. Tuesday, we flew down to Arizona to look at houses. We did not win Powerball. Everybody always asks at that point. They're like, did you win? And I was like, no. Like, does this look like I won Powerball? Trust me, you'll know.
You look like $1 million to me, Lisa.
Well, thank you. $1 million, not 500 million. That's my point. So Tuesday we flew down to Arizona, went back home on Saturday and had decided we were moving to Arizona. So we hadn't even talked about it before. So it was like within a week, decided we were moving to Arizona. And that was in May and we were here by July 26th, 2020. We signed our contract on our house, moved into an apartment. The hardest part of that transition, we were actually still running the company that we had and we went through, we laid out, we could run it virtually. We didn't have to physically be where we were because the work that we did was basically virtual services. But the hardest part of it was we had multiple kids that we had to figure out. Obviously the two little ones were coming with us because they're ours. The three big ones have other parents that had to be involved in the decision making. Plus we felt like they were old enough to make that decision for themselves. So they were 14, 16, and 19, 18 or 19, 19. And The two oldest kids decided to stay in Washington, and the 14-year-old came with us. And fortunately, like, we as parents worked very well together to like say, is this going to work? And it worked out. We let the kids have their choice of what they wanted to do. They're all here now. So because everyone in the process of like coming down to visit is like, Arizona's better. And for those of you who are in Washington, there's nothing wrong with Washington. It's just that we have sunshine all the time.
Yes.
And it's amazing. So what was cool though, that first year, even though the two big kids didn't live with us, because it was COVID, they were still remote for school. Yeah. And so they could come down here for 3 or 4 weeks. So we oftentimes had 7 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment, which was also like, are we bananas? Like, why are we doing this? But it was great because we still got to spend quite a bit of time with them. It wasn't like we left them.
That sounds like so much fun. So then they started moving out here. How did you guys start Strategy Ninjas? At the time, I believe AI was not as big or well known as it is today. So back then, this was like a cutting edge new business venture that you guys got into. Talk about that story a little bit, and then we'll go down the rabbit hole of like motherhood, blended families, and all the fun there.
So it was an accidental baby. Like the AI business. I'm going to call it our 7th accidental baby because our last business was an accidental baby. It was supposed to be a side hustle for me that turned into an actual business. So when we sold our company, we had 2 years that we worked for the company that bought us. And in that time frame, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do. And it was always an option potentially to stay there, but we ended up not. It was when you exit a company, a part of you says, I'm ready to let this go. And so to stay in the industry is really hard because you've let go of your baby. So we ended up going into business consulting and also helping people monetize their knowledge and create recurring revenue for their businesses. So that's actually what we started doing, which is a little bit about how we joined forces with you, which I'm super thankful for that portion of how we started the business. In the meantime, and I was like, gosh, I want to learn more about AI. So I started taking some classes. I got certified in generative AI. It's on my LinkedIn profile. I'm very proud of that little certification. Not really, but it's fun to have a certification. Before anyone was really doing AI, I had that. And so I started teaching classes just on the side. I was like, I can teach you how to use ChatGPT. I took a class on it. I've been using it and to use it differently. And in the meantime, there was a gentleman who we met at the last company, the one who bought ours. We met him and just had kind of kept in touch. And he's pretty deep in the AI space. And what happened is some people had seen me talking about it. They knew we were aligned with him. Alex had been talking about it a little bit, and we got invited to speak at an event. And so we're like, yeah, we'll go talk about AI. So we flew our business partner in, spoke at this event, and from that event, we got 2 more events. And from those 2 events, we got 4 more events. And from those 4 events, we ended up, we launched a program in teaching AI, and it exploded from there. So it was 100% an accident, a happy accident, but it was an accident. That is not what we thought we were on the path to do because we were doing business consulting. So we're still doing consulting for businesses. We just now teach them how to do AI.
Yeah. So it's more consulting on AI strategy, implementation, execution. You guys build agents. I know we were talking about that as well. Yeah. So there's a lot of fun to be had here. We've had you speak at different events that I've been a part of. I've been at other events that you have spoken at. So that's been a lot of fun. How do you guys navigate this busy, growing business and industry? Because it's such a demand today with time with your kids, with time with each other, with, all of the various pieces that come with, you didn't want to trade your time for money and work for someone else. So you built this business, but it still takes a lot of your time. Like, how do you make sure that you're prioritizing the family and you?
Yeah, that was a really loaded question, and there's like 8 parts to it, so I don't know where to start. Start with relationship, because running a business with your spouse is a whole different world. We've got 10 years of experience. Officially, this year, we have 10 years of experience of doing this together. We have to be super intentional to not talk about business, because it runs our world. Like, we literally go to bed at night, and Alex will be like, hey, did I tell you about it? And I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it. Like, actually, right now, I can't. Like, why don't you tell me how you're feeling or something, right? Like, I want something different. We did set a rule that we haven't been very good at following, that like between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. is business, and then anything outside of those hours, we can't talk about it. That's started to bleed again into like those time frames, but we have to be super intentional so that we have that balance. And then with the business, sort of our unspoken agreement, we haven't really talked about this, but how it works is that Alex takes more of a lead in the business. So he ends up working more, whereas this is why my kids think I'm a stay-at-home mom, is because like I try to be 100% present with them when I'm with them. So like when they get done with school, I try to be done with work. I'm not necessarily all the time. And so there's a little bit of that balance. With what we're creating now, with what's possible with AI, I actually see Alex getting freed up quite a bit more too. Because all the stuff he used to have to do, we are now able to train an AI agent to do, so that he just has to direct it and tell it what to do, and we had to train it, but he no longer has to do the work. So kind of seeing to where we're going to move a little bit more into that, but it's not easy, especially when you're building, and especially when like your whole family relies on this. You know,
it's growing so fast. Like there's so much demand. So it's almost like you guys have to put in your own stoppers, because you could be busy 24/7, right? You could be at different events every single week. There is so much demand for what you do that you have to be intentional in choosing, like, where are we spending our time? What is worth the investment if we both have to go somewhere, or if one of us is getting on a plane, and what do those things look like?
Yeah, and we're getting better about being a little bit pickier, saying no to the wrong opportunities and saying yes to like the great opportunities. And they're not even wrong opportunities, they're just not as good of opportunities. And that comes with just time.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, it's okay to outgrow certain rooms, because I think that when you are a small business owner and when you're getting started, you say yes to everything because you're growing it, right? And you need it to grow. But as you start to grow, not every room is meant for you. You are not supposed to show up everywhere. And I think that's the hardest thing I have found, is I want to help everyone and I want to say yes and I love all of these things, but I realize like there are people I'm not able to help when I keep saying yes to things that I shouldn't. And then there are people who are up and coming behind me that can take those opportunities as well, and that I'm stealing those opportunities from them and just really spreading myself too thin. So I love that. Now let's talk about how technology shows up in your life, because this was one of my favorite conversations that we've had before. Is having almost two families, like you mentioned, you have had very different experiences in technology, in devices, in the internet, and exposure between your older kids and your younger kids. And I think this is super important for people to talk about. There's never, ever like a one size fits all. But this is something that you shared with me that I found very important in what we're talking about, and how you have changed how you see things and what is different with your older kids, or what you did there versus your younger kids. Can you share a little bit behind that? Because I really found value there.
We made all the mistakes with the big kids. They joke. They're like, you guys are so much different with these guys. I'm like, yeah, because first of all, we're older. I don't have as much energy. I realize some things matter and some things don't, and I'm able to really focus on what matters. But like when it comes to technology, we literally made all what I look at now as the mistakes with them. So I mean, we had a rule: they couldn't get phones until they were 12, and it had to be a flip phone. They were not happy about that. My stepdaughter, who's now 24, gave us multiple presentations on whiteboards and PowerPoint about why she should get an iPhone, but she didn't get it until she was 13. But once she got that, you open the floodgates. Like, you have an iPhone, you basically have a computer in your hand that has access to everything. And even with parental controls, it's hard to navigate that. Plus, and keep in mind, this was 12 years ago, right? So this was I don't even know how I'm that old, but here we are. Like, how is that possible? It feels like it was yesterday, but like 12 years ago, all of their friends were on social media and everybody was communicating through Snapchat. I don't remember if it was Snapchat at the time or if it was Instagram, whatever it was. Like, they were all communicating through social media. Most of them didn't even text, which was like so surprising to me when our kids had phones. I'm like, you guys don't use text? And they're like, no. Like, who does that? They do now. They finally caught up to us old people, but they didn't. I mean, they don't even use emails, which is crazy to me too. They were on social media, and what I saw, and especially with our girls, is that first of all, the comparison game was unbelievable. Like, they were seeing these girls on social media, and they could follow people from all over the country, right, that were perfect. And a lot of times they're filtered, right? Like, this isn't what they actually look like. So when we were growing up, back in the 1900s, it's my favorite thing to say right now, because I think it's so funny. But back in the 1900s, we had Cosmopolitan and Vogue and those types of magazines, and there was one girl on the cover who was airbrushed, or her thighs were shrunk, or whatever it was. One girl, and they were a celebrity typically. So we were comparing ourselves to a celebrity, but all the normal people we saw were still normal like us. Right. So we aspired to be like that, but we also, our world was normal people. For our girls, it's not. because the normal people are exceptional. They're supermodels. They're beautiful. They're, because they have all these filters. Plus, like, I'm going to tell you right now, like 16 to 20-year-olds do not look like we did when we were 16 to 20. I'm like, we did not look like that.
No.
Like, I
I
look
looked
back
at
and
a
I'm like,
picture of me at 20 and I was like, who did not teach me how to do my makeup? I look
right?
crazy. I look like a clown. Like it was bad. So I
I
get what
had
you're
bad
saying.
friends.
Yes. Yes, my hair was bad, my makeup was bad, and I thought I looked great. So I totally see what you're saying with that one. Very different. Like all girls today who are in that age range to me look grown and they have so much makeup on and it's so well done because they can watch these like 5-hour contour videos and I don't. So keep going.
We
Sorry.
did not look like that. They look totally different than we do. But I think that was, so we saw that with our girls, to where like they don't see their own beauty because they're comparing against something that's so unrealistic. And I have beautiful girls. Like if anybody ever sees them, like they're stunningly beautiful. And that's not just me saying that, like they legit are. But so there was that. Plus the other thing, and I saw it with all three of the older kids, is that so like again, back in the 1900s, if my friends went out without me, I didn't know about it. I'd find out on Monday. And of course my feelings would be hurt, but it wasn't in real time. I watched our kids go through like seeing their friends on social media in real time together and they didn't get invited. And I, as an adult, still have a hard time with that. Like if I'm on social media and I see some of my friends and they're all together, and Mel Robbins actually talked about this in the let them theory. But I'm like, oh, so it's not just me. Because I'll see like my grown adult friends and I'm like, they're all out to brunch. Why didn't I get invited? They all went to vacation in Florida and I didn't get invited. Right? So I'm like, I feel it as an adult. Can you imagine that feeling, still in those formative years of like when your brain's not all the way there and you're 16 to 25. So anyway, we saw all of that. So now our little ones, they don't get phones until high school. It's just not even an option. And we haven't promised them that they get phones in high school. It's just that's the earliest we'll consider it. And then there is no social media. I'm just saying a hard no on that. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with dealing with the upset kids. Yeah. Because I don't want them to go through what I've seen my older kids go through.
I think protecting our kids is the number one job we have. And sometimes that means we are portrayed as the bad person in the scenario because we're not giving them what they want. My daughter, Liliana, she's in 4th grade and so many kids in her class have phones. And she tells me this all the time. And I'm like, good for them, Liliana. I am not their mom. My job is to be your mom right now and to protect you. And so I love this. The other thing that we talked about was these online apps and things that people let their kids play, like YouTube Kids, and people want to talk about how safe these things are because you have these controls in it, right? And you guys live in a technology world, and so this is why I love to hear your perspective on these things. I don't trust them, but I don't have enough knowledge and insight, and I feel like you were sharing some of these things. When I started to watch some of this stuff with the kids, I realized like this is not safe. Nobody is vetting these things to make sure it is only kids content and it is only kids pop-ups. So how have you guys navigated that in real time in today's world?
A lot of it's just a hard no. YouTube, it just is. We let our little ones actually watch YouTube Kids because we were trying to start a business and we had little kids. Like I was 8 months pregnant when we launched our last business. So there's that piece of it where I'm like, how do I do both of these things? And unfortunately, I did rely on YouTube and a couple of other things to distract them so that I could get work done. I hate admitting that. I actually hate admitting that, but I have to because it was like the reality at the time. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, right? But I wasn't. YouTube was babysitting my kids, and that's like the worst babysitter. I don't advise it. But one of the things we caught is that and I thought it was safe because it was YouTube Kids. Well, about 5 minutes into the video, whatever YouTube was using to screen these videos, they didn't watch the whole thing. So they were watching part of it, but then about 5 minutes into the videos, anything goes. And so there were just some weird things going on, and not necessarily like harmful in the sense of like it wasn't nudity or something like that, but just like things that are not part of my value system that they were slipping in there. And I'm like, this just doesn't seem right, and I don't want that in my kids' heads. Plus the other thing is the ads they're not screened. So you can have a phone, like an app on your phone that, for 4+, but the ads are for 18+, and you can't control it. So even my little guy one day was playing a game on his phone, and he was little. He was probably 3 or 4, so not, we had never taught him about these things. But a dominatrix ad comes on. It's like some dominatrix game. He's playing a game, and it's like, I don't know, some game for 4+, because it was the only thing I would put on my phone, right? But it's like some ad for some dominatrix game that I don't know who's playing this, but somebody is. He took the phone and he hid it. So he kind of like hid it because he didn't want us to see. He knew it was something he shouldn't be watching. And Alex caught that and he's like, why did you hide that? And Alex picks up the phone and sees this ad and we're like, and we're done. And we're just like, and that's it. I'm sorry. Like, you don't get to play these games anymore because I can't control that. And
even when you think something's safe, it's not.
It's not safe. It's not safe. And that's parent, I mean, we have this naive feeling where it's like, but it's PG or it's whatever, and it's not. Like, I don't even take my kids to movies anymore without reading reviews of people who have seen it. I'm like, what do I need to know going into this? And it's not that I won't take them, but it's like, I need to know what kind of conversations I need to have afterwards. Because I also don't want my kids to get their values from Disney or Pixar. Like, that's not where their values are coming from. They're coming from our family. So we don't go to a movie at all until I've read probably 5 or 6 reviews. Well, I don't read them anymore. I have AI read them for me and give me a summary. But
there's ways to figure it out instead, because I think a lot of people are getting frustrated with stuff like that, where you believe, like you said, you're naive. You believe, hey, this is supposed to be kids content. This is supposed to be for your kids. And it's not. A question I never asked you before that I do want to ask you about is, like, what about things like Roblox and Minecraft, like these online games that kids play? What have you seen with some of those?
You have to be really, really diligent. We have a hard rule in our house that they do not get to friend someone or go like that they don't know. I get it, someone from their class, like our kids play Minecraft, but they play with like people from their classes or family, and that's it. You don't get to like interact with people. We have the restrictions on that. Roblox was a tough one, because all the kids were playing it, but then there's chat rooms, and then there's offshoots of games, and there's different things. Our kids actually lost their iPads for a full month because they went into a kind of I don't know how Roblox works. I've never played it myself, but there's an off game, and then in this off game, that is like a spin-off within Roblox, they were talking to strangers and were like, you're not supposed to do that, your iPads are gone for a month. Like, gone. And there was no conversation around it because we needed them to see how severe it was. And that's part of it too, is we can't monitor every single thing our kids do. We can't. Like, I'm not going to sit there and watch them play Minecraft. Like that, again, this is similar. I'd rather poke my eye out. Some people may enjoy it. I liked the movie. I'm not watching them play the game. But I have to teach them what's right and wrong. And sometimes it's a severe consequence that, like, is that interruption.
Yes.
To where they can make the decision for themselves.
It's a harsh wake-up call, and sometimes you need it. And some people might think that's severe, but if it's what teaches the lesson, I'm all for it.
So I'm going to tell you this story about harsh lessons really quick. One of Peyton's friends, when she was little, her mom got mad at her and threw all of her birthday presents away. Like, that was the consequence. And I was like, oh, she's never misbehaving again. So I'm like, I'm light. I mean, she literally, like, and all of them, every single birthday present, she had just had her birthday party and she was misbehaving. All of them gone.
That's crazy. I have one time, as an extreme consequence, because I was tired of Jacob not cleaning his room, I went in there one day and he was at school, and Sean and I emptied everything, and all he had in there was a bed and a dresser. And I was like, and you're going to earn everything back in here, because I was so fed up with this fight that we were getting in every week to clean up his room. And so now we mitigate, like, what actually goes in there. He has toys, he has things like he wants in there, but he was like, where's all my stuff? And I was like, my stuff, and it's gone. And so I understand how sometimes you have to make these extreme decisions to teach kids. Some kids, I promise you, are a little bit, all of my kids are different. Well, I have 2, and I'm sure all of your kids are different. And so the way that each of them learn is going to be different. But on the flip side of this, Lisa, with technology, you guys are really good about allowing your kids to use technology to better themselves. Can you talk about that a little? Because I think both of your kids are really involved, and great at utilizing technology in a healthy way that I think makes them smarter and better children and gives them an outlet. So I enjoy hearing this side of it from you as well, of like, what are the opportunities you're giving your kids to go all in on technology, and what does that look like?
Well, I think a lot of it is around the AI space, but also what's possible. Like, I would love if all of my kids were entrepreneurs, because I do think that we're going into an era where, like, there are not going to be as many jobs. There's just not. AI is going to take a lot of that. There will still be jobs. I don't think it's going to destroy our society, but I do think, like, entrepreneurship is kind of the way to go. So we need to teach them how to use technology in order to create something. So they both use ChatGPT. They love it. They they both started businesses. Like they have a club at their school, but they use ChatGPT to help them name it and how to come up with a logo and all of those things. So they're using AI as a partner. But then also even our little guy, we are teaching him how to vibe code, which is like basically creating apps. He made a game, like a video game that he then was able to play. And so I think that's what we're trying to do, is teach them to be in control of it. And the reality is, and I think our education system needs to catch up, they're going to be using AI. So instead of like fighting it, let's teach them how to use it responsibly. And so that's what we focused on with our kids. And so like even my daughter sings, my 11-year-old, and she loves to write songs. So she's worked with ChatGPT to write songs. I can't tell you how many times she's sending me something and she's like, "Can you print this? I have to sing it. Can you print this?" But she like gives ChatGPT her ideas for songs and then she writes it with them. So she's got like, I mean, it's just cool to see what's possible.
Yeah, that is really cool. I love that piece of it because I think parents who are afraid of AI don't understand its full power and capability. And my family's like your family. We're entrepreneurs. Sean has a business. I've been a part of multiple now, and I really love where technology can take people. And again, I see it as a lever that people can use to make businesses better, to help you create more, to bring things to life in a way that you couldn't. I told Jacob about your son creating the game, and he's like, "I want to create a game." Like, he was really excited about this, and I think that's so fantastic that your kids are not just relying on technology to like play something, but to actually be creative. Yeah. Because the children of today are not that creative. They get bored quickly. They expect to be entertained all the time. And so I tell my kids all the time, if you're bored, my mom used to say this to us, if you're bored, it's because you're boring, right? There's so much to do. And so we challenge our kids to be more creative and to think. And after you shared that with me, I was really excited because it's a new opportunity that we hadn't explored yet with our kids, that many people can get involved in with your children. And you can learn with them. And it's such a fun way to do something like that in a family dynamic, or to challenge your thinking together and to advance your thinking instead of being reliant on other things for entertainment.
Yeah. And I think back to the whole boredom thing and like talking about that a little bit more. I read an article a number of years ago that creativity is dying, because creativity, the source of it is you're creating something. This generation that's coming up, they don't have to create anything because they have like stimuli at their fingertips all the time. So they never have a dull moment where they have to use that creativity muscle. So I love when my kids are like, "I'm bored." I'm like, "That's amazing. Go create something." Right? Like I love that you're bored. Now you have to use your imagination and go create. And I actually got into this conversation earlier today. Like, our kids just, I actually feel bad for our kids because they don't understand what it's like to get excited about something that's coming up. Like Saturday morning cartoons. Like, come on. I would get up at like 5:30 in the morning because they started at 6. And I'm like, I'm not missing that 4 hours of Saturday morning cartoons because it was my only chance. Because other than that, like, the news was on at my house. Like, this is dumb, or some adult show that I didn't want to watch. My kids have no idea how magical Saturday mornings used to be. They don't know like a magical Saturday morning because that's when you get to watch cartoons. Because they can do it anytime, right? Like, they have anything they want on demand. It's just, I feel bad for our kids. Like, I feel like they have some amazing things going on, but they also like, they're missing out on so much that they'll never know.
We started watching TV again on our TV. It has like a TV Plus channel, right? And we don't pay for the upgrade, so it has commercials. And it's my favorite thing for the kids to understand is what you used to do during a commercial. Like, that was your time to go to the bathroom, refill your drink, grab a snack, like
get your popcorn.
You run. You're like, I got a minute and a half, let's go. And so it's been a lot of fun to bring even that back. Like, what you're saying is this like FOMO of, you can't hit rewind, you can't hit pause, you gotta hurry up and make it. So just little things like that is nostalgic for us to be able to share with them in a fun and like silly way. It really is. It's so small and so simple, but it makes me happy. Talking about your kids and your family, what are things that you guys make sure that you do together? Things that are maybe non-negotiable, things that, as you've learned over the years, you prioritize now in a family dynamic because life is busy, things can get distracting, and you can separate really quickly and not spend time together.
We do our best to eat dinner together every night. It doesn't always happen just because sometimes work bleeds into that, and so we end up being a little bit separated, but we do our best to do dinner together every night. But one of the things we do is Sunday nights, because all of our big kids live here now, and they don't live with us, they all live away from us. So Sunday nights, they all come over and we do do dinner together. And it's actually been very fun. And now our oldest is dating, and so her boyfriend will come with her. So it's like our family dinners are growing, which is very fun. But like we'll sit outside, we'll play cornhole. We'll do a cornhole tournament. And just trying to engage in something that is together, but not watching TV or not watching a movie or something else. But Sunday nights have become like our really big ritual of just like, this is our time together as a family, and this is when we all get to be together again. And I think the big kids love it because they get fed. I think that's mostly why they come over, is because they're like, oh, we get like a real meal, because I mean, they're on their own. Groceries are expensive, so they eat a lot of, I don't know, cottage cheese and peanut butter maybe. But they get real food. Plus, I'm pretty sure like one of them takes stuff from our house. Because I'm like, the laundry detergent is like disappearing. We have a freezer in the garage that has food in it, and I'm like, why is it? I feel like I bought stuff that's not there. But I mean, I remember what it's like to be that age too, and you're like, you do what you can.
Yeah. And hey, mom and dad have enough. Like, they've worked hard. This is great. They're not going to notice a missing frozen pizza or two. It's okay.
I notice. Yeah. Just so you know.
Well, you're like all ops. That's why, Lisa. Like, you're the details. You're the list that's there. So I can totally see that. How do you make time for you, Lisa? Or do you, right? Because we talk about prioritizing family and even marriage. How do you make time for you? Or what does that look like in this season of life for you right now?
So I've been in an extended season of not doing that. One of the things I really try to do, I mean, I go to the gym almost every day. Although I don't feel like that's really time for me. That's like a box checked, right? Like, I need to do this, so I'm going to go. Like, it's not like I go and I'm like, oh, yay, me time. And I also am not like a big self-care person. I hate the phrase self-care. Like, I hate it. I hate buzzwords like self-care and mental health day. And I don't buy into all of that, right? Like, we're all humans. We don't have to put labels on all this stuff. But anyway,
take care of yourself.
One of the things I love doing more than anything is reading. And I read murder. Like, it's all straight up murder. But it's also like my chance to not think. Like, I just get to read. And I'm also alone usually when it does that. And I'm never alone, ever. Like, that is not a thing that exists in my world. Like, all of my world is either like being social or with my family. And so like I read, and that actually fuels me. And someone asked me today, she's like, oh, do you like read books with your friends and do a book club? I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about what I read. Then that makes it like homework. I'm not doing that.
Then there's like pressure. I've done a book club. Whew. Then you're like pressure to read it, get it done. And if you're not, you're like a crazy person trying to skim chapters. It's actually not fun, especially if you like to read and you want to do it at your own pace. Then you got to agree on a book. And it's like, no, I just want to read what I want to read. Yeah. So I love when people ask that question, but the answer is no.
No, I have no desire. I mean, in business books, all day I'll sit and talk about those in a group because I like brainstorming about that. But like murder, what are we going to talk about? Nothing to talk about. I don't want to analyze the character and the decisions she made. I don't want to do that. I just want to read it. I just want to enjoy my murder and move on. Thank you.
What does a day in the life look like for you right now?
Usually I'm up by like 4:30, 4:15, 4:30, off to the gym. I don't love it. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I get up at 4:30 because I love it. I don't. It's just kind of the nature of where our life is and how we have to navigate in order to do that. And I go to bed at 8:30. That's my day. Everything in between is a hot mess. Like my morning routine up until about 8 o'clock is the same. Beyond that, I do a lot of networking. All right, I wouldn't even call it networking because I also hate that phrase. I have a lot of phrases I hate. Hang out with me for a while and you'll know what they all are, or a lot of them. But I spend a lot of time in social circles because I do think that, first of all, people do business with people, not with businesses. And so I think it's important to know the people that you're working with. Plus, I just genuinely like people. I genuinely do. Like, I can find the good in anybody. I mean, like, challenge me. I could probably find the good in Adolf Hitler. I don't want to find the good in him, but I bet I could.
We won't go there.
I like people. So I spend a lot of time with people, which is also why I enjoy my alone time.
Yeah. And that's how we met. If you didn't do that so much, and I enjoy people as well. Like, Sean does not enjoy people as much. You know, he will tell you he's much more of an introvert than I am, and he doesn't want to know people like I want to know people. Because I think there's good in most people, like you. I give people the benefit of the doubt. I believe most of us are trying to just be good people out in the universe. Sometimes it's hard, and sometimes there are bad people out there. But I also believe in like karma, energy, whatever you want to call it, that will come back to you as well. So I try to show up as my best self for all of the people that I can, and really enjoy that.
And you do, my friend, by the way. You do.
I mean, I love people and I love helping people. I love supporting people's businesses. I love introducing people to people who I think are good to one another or would be a good fit, right? Like those are things that they fuel my cup. They genuinely do, is saying like, hey, Lisa, you should work with Amber. Here's how and why, right? Like when I make those connections, they make me so happy. And that's not everybody's jam or everybody's thing. Like not everybody thinks of it that way, but it really is good for me to be able to do that, because a lot of what I do doesn't feel like that in a lot of ways. So I get really excited about that one.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go into this round now of, let me ask you one more question. Outsourcing. What do you guys outsource, or are you guys people who just kind of do everything on your own? Like house cleaning, landscaping, all of those things? Because a lot of people ask, like, she seems busy. Does she do it all on her own, or are you a person who outsources some of it?
We outsource some of it. Alex and I both took, if anybody's familiar with the Colby assessment, one of the things on there that it measures is like how good you are at building things or using your hands. And both of us, the phrase that came back was like, just don't do it. Like, don't build things with your hands. So any outside handyman, like landscaping, we outsource. Handyman stuff, we typically don't even try. It's not good for us or the project. Like stuff usually gets ruined. So we outsource that, but pretty much everything else we do. I had a housekeeper for a while. My problem with that is like I'm paying somebody and then I come home and I'm like, I could have done a better job. So I'm not going to pay someone to do it. So if anybody knows a really good housekeeper in the Phoenix area, please let me know. I would love to outsource that. I just haven't found anyone who really does a good job. So we really do everything.
Good for you. I have struggled with that as well. Not just like them not doing a good enough job, but also like you have to clean before the cleaners come.
Oh my gosh,
Sean
yes.
hated that. Like he would get so pissed off. It's like, aren't people coming? Like, why are we doing so much? It's like, well, they don't do this or they don't do that, so we got to get all these things ready.
Okay,
and
so I had a housekeeper.
I
had hired this woman and she left the business, but she handed her business over to her daughter. And I at the time had 3 kids, running a business, busy, right? And I tried to pick up as much as I could. Her mom, who used to clean my house, texted me and said, hey, my daughter has another job right after yours today, so she's hoping that you can pick up a little bit more than usual. And that was kind of when I was like done, because I'm like, sure. Would you like me to scrub the floors before she comes to make it easier? Like what? I mean, and my house is not cluttered. You've been to my house.
Yes.
It's not like, I mean, I don't have stuff strewn all over the place. Like there may have been a few toys, and sometimes my kids would leave a game laying out, and so they'd have to like fold up the game. Like it wasn't excessive.
Yeah, no, I'm all good on that one. All right, we're going to move into this or that. All right. So I'm going to read off things to you and you tell me which one. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Mountains or beach?
Ooh, can I have both? Yes, I can. If in the Dominican Republic, you can have both.
Okay, in the DR, you get both. All right, on vacation.
If not beach. If I can't have both, beach.
On vacation, are you a plan it or wing it person?
Plan up front, wing it while we're there.
Okay. Leggings or jeans?
Jeans.
Or heels or sneakers? I know this one.
Sneakers.
Hair up or hair down?
Down.
Binge a show or a movie night?
Binge a show.
Online shopping or in store?
No shopping. I hate shopping. I hate it.
All right. Sweet or salty?
Sweet.
Always early or always 5 minutes late?
I'm always 5 minutes late, but it's because I'm an optimist and I plan for the best case scenario.
Ask for help or you figure it out on your own?
Figure it out on my own.
Email, text, or phone calls?
Text.
Awesome. All right, Lisa, as we wrap up, what is one piece of advice that you would give to working entrepreneurial moms who are listening today that you maybe wish you would have heard?
Give yourself more grace. You're probably doing way better than you think, so stop looking for the failures and start looking for where you've succeeded.
That is awesome. Well, my friend, it's been so good having you on today. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Sounds good, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.